themselves. A lot of players broke records, discovered a lot of new talent. And we saw great potentials from countries that has never been in the World Cup before. This World Cup journey has been such a ride for me. We've all been swept up by the joys, the sad moments, and even the surprises in this World Cup. So we can say it has been a roller coaster for some. So here are a few countries that I felt like stood out to me during this World Cup: England, France, Paraguay, Norway, Egypt, Morocco, Argentina, of course, USA, let's not forget USA, Belgium, and Switzerland. And lastly, my favorite of them all, Cabo Verde. Cape Verde stood out for me completely. They played well, their defense was good, their keeper was excellent. That's one of the most beautiful talents I think we discovered in this World Cup. So I think these are the countries that stood out for me in this World Cup. Spain stood out for me in this World Cup because they had a perfect defense team, and in all of the matches they played, they only conceded 2 goals. France for me also had a beautiful team. They had people like Kylian Mbappe, who broke the all-time scoring record. Then we have Olise, who was a very brilliant player on the field, although he had a few difficulties scoring goal, but he also broke the assist record. I think his current record is about 7 or 8 assists. Then Ousmane Dembele as well. I think these 3 players stood out for me from the France team. Argentina, of course, stood out as reigning champions. They showed why they were the previous winners, and they came with a fighting spirit, and they had a good mentality throughout the World Cup. England, on the other hand, also stood out because they had amazing players like Harry Kane, Declan Rice, Nico Riley, Marcus Rashford, and then we discovered Jet Spence on the other hand, which was a very brilliant defense player. Kelechi Eze, Bukayo Saka, and Jude Bellingham. Beautiful player. We also saw a lot of upset in this World Cup, but we'll talk about that later. Here are the things that disappointed and fell short of expectation. For me, it was Uruguay, and then we had DR Congo, Senegal, Germany, Australia, England. In the match between England and Argentina, I felt like they fell short of expectations. Yes. Morocco and Egypt as well. I think they also fell short of expectation in the match between Egypt and Argentina. They fell short of expectation. For me, they disappointed because they were leading and they allowed and they conceded goals. So I think these are the things that underperformed for me. Oh, did I mention Brazil? They also underperformed. Lamine Yamal also did not live up to people's expectation as much as we were expecting. Also, the Portugal players disappointed. They didn't live up to the expectation. According to what I heard, they had the best midfielder, but throughout the game, they didn't give him enough room to do well, to score more goals. In all of the game, I think he scored about 3 goals. For his level, I think he should have done better than that. Also, Erling Haaland was another beautiful talent that was discovered in this World Cup. This was his first World Cup, and he scored 7 goals. First World Cup, and he's scoring 7 goals in it. That is a beautiful start for his career, his World Cup history. That is just beautiful. Here are a few things FIFA did that I think they did well. The water break. For me, the water break was really, really nice. I think the players needed it. The season was hot with the scorching sun and everything. I think the players needed the water break, and it was a beautiful one. It's something I think they should adopt. But I also know that it's not always like that in every other country. It may not be an activity that they would pick up. Secondly, the number of teams that were allowed to play in this World Cup. Oh my God, I cannot emphasize, because I think the fact that they increased the number of teams that could play for this World Cup. The number of teams were increased from 32 to 48. The tournament became bigger. I'm talking big. I think the number of matches went from 64 to I think about 104. There about 104 matches, from 64 matches to 104 matches. That is wild. So I like to commend FIFA for their choice or their decision to for their choice and decision to increase the number of teams that could have access to playing the FIFA World Cup, to playing the World Cup. Yeah, they should I think this should be a system they should adopt. Now let's talk about how this gave smaller countries room to shine, because if that was not done, we wouldn't have discovered Cape Verde. Also, we saw a lot of underdog upsetting the bigger teams, which was beautiful. It was just amazing to see that smaller teams played against bigger teams. More players were seen and discovered on a global platform, and I think this would help their careers a lot. Now, to the things that I didn't like and I think they should look into is one, the refereeing. I felt like some of the refereeing for these matches were terrible and they were not consistent. Now, if there is a law guiding football matches, I think we should stick to it, and the referees should be consistent with it. You cannot card a team member for doing something and then another team does it, maybe a bigger team does it, and they are not being carded for that. They are not being carded. That is just wrong. If there is a rule, it should be strictly followed, whether you are an underdog or you're a bigger team or you are a super celebrity star footballer. I think the law should be for everybody. So looking into the referees, the refereeing of matches is one thing that I think they should do. Right, they really need to do that. I also think they need to look into the countries that they select to play this World Cup, because it is important. It is a very big global competition, and a lot of people from all over the world want to come watch the match from their various different places. And it's just wrong that USA happened to be one of the hosting countries and they refused visa for a whole lot of other people from different countries. Yes, I understand the backside to it, but I think there's a way it can be handled properly, to the point where even players and the incident between the Iran country, because they couldn't, the Iraq country or Iran country that couldn't even that couldn't get to USA the normal way because they were rejected, and the whole story behind that, I don't think that's a good one. It wasn't a good look for FIFA. So yes, they need to look into the country. If they are going to select a particular country to play the World Cup, then they need to be sure that the country would allow foreigners and immigrants to be able to come participate in it, watch the match and enjoy themselves. Lastly, this is for my African brothers. Come closer. We need to do better. African teams need to do better. We need to change our mentality. The mentality we have towards this game is not good. We need to improve. We need to get over ourselves. We need to get into our head and be on top of our game. Yes. Would you believe the World Cup has existed for 96 years and no African country has won the World Cup? That is a big shame. That is a big slap on our face. And we call ourselves the giants of Africa, the D's of Africa, and you cannot even win World Cup. Come on. We need to do better, especially our Nigerian teams. How can you call yourself a giant and you've not won a World Cup? You didn't even qualify for 2026 World Cup. No, now. We need to do better. Our African players, you just need to top your game. It was so sad to watch this World Cup and Nigeria was nowhere to be found. It is not a good look on us at all. And this is to all the African countries. Only 3 African countries has gotten close to winning the World Cup, and that's at the quarterfinals. Senegal, Ghana, and Cameroon. Only 3 has gotten close to. Let's double our hard work on the field. We have to be a part of the 2030 World Cup and we have to win. It is time for us to come out and shine brighter than we used to, brighter than before. That's it for the World Cup wrap up. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section what you think. What were your thoughts during this World Cup? What made you happy? What inspired you? Which team disappointed you in this World Cup? Just let me know what you think. Bye and see you in our next video.